And welcome back. That's right, we're back. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, and we're moving into our second segment for the morning. Belize National Diabetes will be, we've got reps in to tell us about self-care, which is extremely important. Now, in to tell us more, we've got Cornelio Marfield, Project Director at the Belize National Diabetes Self-Care Project, and also Lynette Valerio, Financial Officer of the Belize National Diabetes Self-Care Project. Guys, good morning. It's so nice to have you in.
It's good to be back.
Yes, it's always nice to have you in. Now, this is one of the biggest things in our country, diabetes. Now, there is a project on to teach people how to self-care. Let's talk about how the project came along, and then we move on from there.
Well, a pleasant good morning.
Yes.
It's good to be here again.
Yeah, it's always nice to have you in, man.
This time in the capacity of more education and making juices, right?
Yes.
But indeed, the project got initiated last year in April. Actually, we had a group of selected people from HECOPAB, Ministry of Health, PAHO, and the BDA, putting together a proposal seeking some assistance, financial assistance from WDF, the World Diabetes Foundation. And we were fortunate to have been, given that opportunity to carry out a 2 years project. I was selected as the project director, and I accepted. I think it's something I've been doing for years, where we try to control diabetes through different means and methods. Particularly lifestyle approach, checking your sugar regularly, making sure you're active on a regular basis, and of course complying with your meds while you take good meal planning and eating properly. So we have been going through a year of planning and training and educating and empowering the health educators as well as the community health workers from the Ministry of Health. We were given the opportunity to be the implementing agents and the fund holders, and co-implementing with us is the Ministry of Health. We have also had PAHO and representative from there as advisory. So we have a monthly meeting where we have a steering committee from all of these different stakeholders. We sit and try to brainstorm the project. The project was launched officially in August, the ending of August 2018. We had our Minister of Health, DHS, and several stakeholders there as we launched the project. And we are still fine-tuning certain things because this project has been going through metamorphosis.
Wow.
It's something that has never been attempted because it's a national project. You're trying to recruit and have data collection for over almost 1,500 diabetics.
Wow.
And then what's the objective, though? What is the objective of the project?
The main objective, there are three major objectives. One was to educate, empower, and train health educators and community workers, and then we have to recruit and have diabetics who meet criteria such as they are recently diagnosed type 2, not having any organ damage, and target organ damage, and also now we have to have them register with an NHI clinic since we are doing the HbA1c testing. We wish we could have gotten some financial support from enterprise for it, but that's a very expensive endeavor. So as a result, fortunately, NHI was willing to collaborate with us, and so we are working with 10 polyclinics around the country that offers that. But the main objective is to prevent complications in diabetics. I see this complication on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to kind of talk, because diabetes is a well-known disease in this country. We've been talking about it for the duration of this show. We know lifestyle choices can lead you to develop it. You may unfortunately have been born with it, or you may have had a severe incident that has caused you to develop diabetes as well. But nonetheless, there's a lot of things that have to change after a diagnosis, and we still see issues of complications where people are not managing properly. So it shows that there's a disconnect between all the information that's being put out and the actual behavior that people are engaging in.
Correct. And that's where this project comes in, because it is really the management of your diabetes. And persons who are already diagnosed with diabetes type 2, we're aiming at type 2.
Okay.
So these people have acquired diabetes either because it was hereditary, a family member has diabetes, they probably had hypertension or they probably are obese. We also see persons who have been having high stress levels acquiring diabetes. So if you are hypertensive, obese, working under stress, you are at risk. Persons like some of us who have parents or family members with diabetes, we are at risk. And so what we need to do is to take care of our lifestyle, exercise, dieting, and proper care of our our well-being in order to delay the onset of diabetes. Now, for persons who are already living with diabetes, this project will help them to manage their diabetes level. We will be monitoring their glucose level. We will be doing the HbA1c testing on them. We will be working with them to prepare nutritious diet, food that has a balanced diet. And on a monthly basis, we have persons who will be working with them. They will be calling them, sending text messages, and periodically meet on a monthly basis to monitor. They will be taking daily record of their waistline, different measurements, their BMI and everything. They will be doing like a sort of a diary that they will tracking their management. And so this project will help them to delay complications of diabetes. Because you know, persons who do not manage their diabetes, eventually you see amputations, their eyes start to go in, their teeth start to get infected, overall complications steps in.
Severe
the
organs
start to step in. And all of these complications take inside the body that is not visible to you and I. And diabetes, just like a person who acquire weight over time, you don't see the gradual increase of the complication. A person who puts on weight, he doesn't or she doesn't put on the weight overnight. Their body gets done adjusting, and until they are obese. Same thing with diabetes. Many people have diabetes and they are not even aware that they have diabetes. And one of our awareness that we have been doing at the Belize Diabetes Association is to do periodic glucose testing. We have been going out to businesses, to various business offices to do free glucose testing. We keep going out, we go to fairs, provide free testing, because there are persons who are living with diabetes and are not aware.
They're not aware at
And
this particular
sometimes
point.
they're walking and they have high glucose level, high levels.
So-
and you can't always know
Yes.
based on the symptoms sometimes, but it depends how much you pay attention.
Correct.
It's also key too, because you can find out if you are pre-diabetic, which means you can actually do things to reverse
Wow.
developing
Correct.
diabetes. And that's why you should get a regular check.
Correct. And even if you're taking your medication, some people take insulin. If they do some changes in their lifestyle, they can reduce the amount they take. They can. We've seen persons who, went on trip, forget his medication, and realize that he doesn't have his insulin. And what he did, he just take precaution, monitor what he eats, and exercise. And that monitors it and keeps it under control.
What I'm hearing here, while we talk about this, I can hear the audience saying, wow, finally there is something for me to make sure that I am at balance in dealing with diabetes. And I'm saying this because, and it might sound ridiculous to folks for the fact that, always today, all you need to do is to do this, and you continue to check. But now there's a project. And I think this is when people want to actually jump on board.
And sign up.
So how can we sign up to be a part of this project? What can one do to be a part of this project?
Okay. First, like Mr. Marfield said, we are targeting certain patients. And these are patients who don't have any complications.
No complications at all?
No organ
No organ damage.
no retinopathy, no neuropathy,
Which is diabetes type 2?
Yes,
The
diabetes type 2.
complications.
Okay, the
of
complications.
Good.
Complications.
So
No
that's
complications.
one.
Because the
That's one.
objective is to prevent those.
So, but does
to
that
manage
mean
it
that
as
you're going
well.
to do a full checkup before these people are enrolled? Because these people may have retinopathy or some of the damage already without
Well,
being
that
aware.
is why we are also working closely. Well, the plan is to work closely with the clinics, because the clinics have certain information in their system. We started out with the BHIS system at Epi Unit, but because we were not able to acquire HbA1c testing, we went over with NHI, and they have a system called RAWA. And the RAWA system has in all the database of clients. But for ethical reasons, we just can't go in there and grab those names. So what we were what we were told to do is to recruit names out of the system, and then those people who volunteer to be part of the project, then we submit that to the clinics, and they in turn provide certain information. And that's a good question, because we must start with a baseline measurement, where they are and where we plan to have them at. So we should be provided with all the HbA1c testing, and this is provided there. We have a consent form that they must sign, all right? And once the client or the patient have consented, then we submit that to the NHI clinic, and they provide us with certain information, that database, you know, where they are.
You also said recently diagnosed. Like, how recent are we talking
10 years,
about?
within the last
10 years.
Okay, so that would be recent.
Is this a because I hear several things from your project. What it seems to be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're going to get this group of people, 1,500. That's a substantial amount of people.
It is.
And you are going to guide them through the process of learning to properly manage the diabetes so that they don't have any unnecessary complications within this time frame and can sustain it after.
Right.
But is it also a way of gathering information as to where people are going wrong with their management? Because as I said before, I think, and I don't know what the latest stats are, but for a long time, the top cause of death was diabetes-related complications.
It is still.
And so we know that people are dying from not managing properly their diabetes.
And the key word is management. Because sometimes people don't act until it's crisis. You know, when they're under pressure, then they start to take action. Because like I said, the diabetes symptoms are not visible. They don't feel it. And just like when somebody is under pressure and things become urgent, then they start to take proactive measures. But with diabetes, just like healthy lifestyle, you need to exercise daily. That has to be part of your daily routine. Even though you may not be overweight, even though you don't have any health problems, you just need to do exercise. Same thing with diabetes. You need to manage it. You need to delay the onset of complications. And that's what we fail as a nation, because we don't do those proactive measures.
But you know what? Leading up to when you start to find out, you know what, I need to go and do a checkup, you start feeling tired. So there are things to look out for in the event. But you're right.
We don't respond to
exercise
those
daily, but you don't respond. So let's get back to, and I think it's very important that we go back to how, at what point, as much as you're supposed to go in and check up every much as possible, but there's somebody right now who might have those symptoms. So you feel tired, you get thirsty, you use the bathroom.
Frequent urination.
Yes. What else do we go? Let's try to go through it.
Well, you begin to have, there are other areas, and normally when you have those other symptoms, it's chronic, like you have bad back pain, you're feeling numbness in the feet, you're having extreme heat sensation, you start feeling sensation. They call it loss of peripheral sensation. You know, and then there are other issues. Well, you have two extremes. Some go to extreme weight loss, some get very obese. Because there is a direct relationship, by the way, between being overweight, particularly around the midsection, and acquiring diabetes, unfortunately. And that's why we are doing waist measurement on a monthly basis. There is a fact in the medical terms that if you take down a person's BMI, you're less likely to have diabetes. There is a syndromic disease called diabesity now, and that is a direct relationship between gaining weight and being prone to diabetes.
The amount of fat you have in your waistline is actually a very important indicator on your risk for diabetes.
And
the more fat you have around your waist.
That leads to what is called insulin resistance. Because remember, your pancreas, what we call the sweet gland, that is the one that picks up signal when carbs in your body. So that acts like a key to open those cells so that sugar can go into the cells for good metabolism. What fat does, and particularly lipotoxin, that fat combines with toxin and form lipotoxin, and that encapsulates around your cells. We are talking about cellular level now. Those fat cells, etc. And then at those insulin areas, if there is a blockage or clog, that key cannot open the door. It is operating. That's why type 1 is different from type 2. Type 1 is when you don't have the key. The pancreas has malfunctioned for whatever reason. Normally, it starts from birth and early childhood. But with type 2, you have the key. The insulin is produced, but when it gets to the door, it cannot
There's a
open the door.
malfunction, yeah.
Yes, there's malfunction. There's what we call insulin resistant.
Yeah.
But do you know, one study at Loma Linda said 30 minutes of exercise is like 5 units of insulin. Now that's deep. Because when we exercise, we burn those lipotoxins. It's one of the ways to burn the lipotoxin. And proper dieting. I believe if, like Marlene was saying, not those who are pre-diabetic, even recently diagnosed. I have worked in hospital and lifestyle center in the States where I have seen with these 2 eyes, people come in 30 days and they walk out with their sugar level normalized.
But is that the biggest challenge? I mean, tell me because the Diabetes Association, Cornelio, I know you work in terms of promoting healthy lifestyles. What is the biggest obstacle? Is it the lack of exercise? Is it the diet? Is it including sugar in your diet when you don't? What would you say are the main challenges that people who have diabetes struggle with in maintaining lifestyle?
It's such a complicated question because it's so multifaceted.
It's multifaceted, but there's always something that stands out more.
I think it's our cultural or upbringing. You know,
we eat a
we're
lot of
accustomed to
carbs.
this big plate, that the rice and beans, the rice or the carbohydrates part of the plate is a big size.
Yeah.
When in fact, the vegetables should take up half of the plate.
Yeah.
And then 1/4 is your meat protein, and the other quarter is your carbohydrates. So we have the plate.
Yeah.
We
That
have
look
the
good.
plate.
Yeah.
That is the kind of plate that we are accustomed to.
Yeah.
Our parents or grandparents have been brought us up, and this is the size of food.
Well,
you
it's
have.
interesting.
Even what we call a salad, a potato salad
Yes,
is just
not-
more carbs.
It's interesting,
vegetable.
Marlene, because we have created some brochures. Myself, 3 nutritionists from Belmopan. I will call name is Ada Queer from Western Regional, and actually the TA, and along with Miss Robin Daly, we put together some of these brochures. I just had a recent nutritionist help me with some other one with meal planning. But what we are saying, that's the one up there. That is the new diabetes portion plate for the last 5 or 6 years. This is universal. This is not a Belize diabetes self-care project. This has been recognized and understood by many research that is the better way to do it.
But you see, the thing is,
but there is a financial implication to that too that I would like to talk about in a few.
The thing is, this isn't, and maybe that's what happens. Maybe we
cultural.
talk about separating what diabetics eat and what people eat.
Yeah.
Everyone should eat
But
that.
that's a
based on
healthy
what I
plate.
understand.
That's a
Everyone should
healthy
eat that.
plate.
That's a healthy plate.
That's a healthy
actual
plate.
portion size for every person.
And that's a very profound thought,
Yes.
Marlene.
And that's the change that we need to make as a country, for us to be a healthy nation.
Yeah.
We
Eating
need
is
to
very
eat that.
psychological.
And so the vendors have to be aware that when they serve you, they have to serve like that.
Yeah.
Because that is where we want
They
to have.
confuse the portions and the styrofoam plates will be phased out, but the little sections should be the rice
Right.
and the chicken, and then the other side should be the vegetables. That's actually what it should
In
be.
the Mediterranean world, you know what they do? They use smaller plates. So instead of using a 7, 8, 9-inch plate, they use 6-inch plates.
Yeah.
So by the time you portion it, it still looks pretty big compared to you put, because the problem with us is if you're used to something and to just change overnight, it's hard. It's psychological.
Yeah.
There's a lot of psychology to eating. And again, I'm still alluding to the question that Marlene asked. I still believe a lot of it is our eating and drinking habits, because we haven't spoke about certain alcoholic consumption, belly skin, and I don't want to get personal with names. Belly skin, somebody said, right? But those things, it has a lot of calories.
Alcohol.
Yeah, it has a lot of calories.
Juices.
Alcohol, juices.
Sodas.
And it's only worse if you're aging and you have diabetes in the family.
Yeah.
You are more susceptible. So you have to watch how much and portion. It's important that people start to do this, especially if you are diagnosed. You cannot be diagnosed. I had a gentleman travel, and he's telling me, and I won't call him evidently, but he's impotent. He's this, he's that. But he says, I still do my alcohol every weekend. I'm trying to figure out what is of priority to him at this point in time. So people have to make personal lifestyle choices. We are just here to encourage
change, and I think that's we perhaps discussed it off camera. it is changing your life from that point forward. And it's hard. It's hard to do in any part of your life, whether it's eating, exercise, or even sometimes, you know, decision making, whatever it is. It's hard to make big changes.
It is.
So how are you going to be able to help through this project? You'll have these 1,500 people who will hopefully be able to properly manage their diabetes. They'll face the very same challenges that we're talking about here. Getting tired with the diet, frustrated with the diet, don't want to exercise, want to have a drink here or there, have that sweet tooth that's just unsatisfied.
Let me say something, Marlene. I have been traveling this whole country recruiting name. I just came back from Corozal this past weekend, the week before we were in PG. What I am observing, and this is not a biased statement, I'm just telling you what I'm observing. A lot of the people who are diagnosed with diabetes also struggles financially to even support what we consider a healthy meal. A group of individuals down south, I recognize when I went down there, the condition of what our country is facing. People can't even buy lettuce. So they have to resort to basic things. Maybe if they have an avocado in their yard, maybe how much they can use. Maybe basic callaloo. Instead of buying flour, maybe they could make their corn tortillas. But that's an area too that is so difficult for us to address, because when you deal with socio-economic background, even going up north in some of the little small holes, I went into some villages and I was amazed. I'm trying to tell these people about proper eating, but I recognize we got to even customize for those specific group of people. Now you have all caliber people in our country, and of course you have people who can afford to buy certain things, broccoli every day, cauliflower every day. But we also have to consider those things. So that is why a lot of people, it's not just healthy choices, it's just they don't have much choices. I can only afford a pound of sugar, and I can only afford some white flour, and I make my fried jack and maybe scramble an egg with it. We have to just, as a country, to consider those group of people. So this is a challenging program. I must say, I want you to think this is easy.
Marlene's question, how are we going to help these people? It's going to be a support team. And that's what is so critical. It is a support. Once you have the support of persons living with the condition like yourself, you know, we are able to compare their readings, compare their performances with each other. And that's where we feel that the difference will take. The support team, education, and also the support of your family members, because your family members, you also need to be able to be part of this project. Because if I am diabetic and my family see that I'm drinking this plate that is bigger than what I'm supposed to eat, or drinking that sugary drink, they could say, hey, what's that? They
or
could,
even the opposite,
support
they
has to
skip
be
meals.
yes, or skip meal,
and the
or
community
indulging, so they would be able to assist with that.
The community health workers are the key players. When we signed the APP form with the Ministry of Health, and we launched this project, and I believe we had submitted some slides to show those training. We train all the health educators from the Ministry of Health. The financial advisor will agree. In the budget, we provided laptops, projectors, electronic scales, BP kits, heart check, a host of things were submitted. And those people were trained, and the training of the trainees took place. So all community workers, 230 community workers have been trained in this country on this. And those are, those were just the ones from Belize City. We trained these community workers. We're still working on the logistic yet, because I still think that the community workers are the best people to work with, because they're in the communities. And they're the ones who know the conditions, know the people, so we are appealing that they help us get recruit names.
So, okay, so people are watching. You have two criteria. One, that you haven't had any complications from your diabetes, and that you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes within the past 10 years. And you are registered with an NHI clinic. Once you meet these three criteria.
Well, it's 4 actually, and you have the age group, 18 to 60.
18 to 60. Okay, so once you meet this criteria, you are eligible to be a participant in this one-year project, where you will have, from what I'm hearing from you, a hand-holding through your management for your for a year of your diabetes. They'll give you all the skills and tools you need so that from that point forward, you'll be better equipped
to take care of
to do it on your own.
Correct.
How do I become a part of this project? Where do I go and how do I sign up? Because this is life-saving. This is the difference between being in a wheelchair or having having eyesight or needing dialysis in the future. Near future.
All our branches have been given the consent form, so that's a start. We have here in Belize City, we have in Belmopan, we have in Corozal, and we have down south in Dangriga, where people can go and register. We also had employed 6 recruiters that still are helping us. And we have our active Facebook page, Belize Diabetes Association, BMP, where those contact information are, where people can get in contact with those recruiters. But we also, like I said, myself, I have an assistant, and we also have members from the BDA that have been going countrywide. This weekend, we will be at the Expo. Fortunately, we will be at the Expo. We will be at Booth 91, and we will be with the Disabled Person Organization. Since it's a non-profit organization, we kind of collaborated our effort, or we are going to collaborate our effort there. And so we'll be doing free sugar testing all day. We have enough strip for it, I believe. We have scheduled out a portion of strips just for this weekend. I will personally be there doing the
for the 2 days.
And I have an assistant who will be there as helping me to recruit names. Once you fit the criteria, please come out to the Expo. Go on shopping and do all your buying, but please stop Get your free check. We'll do free sugar testing for you, and we will also have our consent sign and papers and ready to sign you up to participate.
And the check is only the prick on the finger.
One quick prick.
That's it.
It doesn't have to be fasting. The better way is fasting. We'll be there as early as 8:30 both mornings. But if you can't fast, there is a level we know we can monitor you whether you're, and we still can't prognose you per se, but we will monitor you. If your sugar is very elevated, I'll send you to the hospital. But I'll just be honest with you, because we have had cases where I went into a community with a health educator recently. We checked about 150 people and there was some extremely elevated. I mean, 6 chains, 5 chains.
Those are
you are
real.
walking,
the normal
look
is 120,
normal.
120.
You look normal walking with that amount of sugar. That could carry you into a coma. I mean, there are several things that can happen with such high sugar level. And so I don't take this for granted. I have close family members that have died from this. That's why I'm such an advocate. I recently lost this year one of my cousins from renal failure. And I take it very personal. I've seen one of my next cousins lost toes till eventually his kidneys collapsed too. So it is in my family genes too. So I pay attention.
But finally though, people can call our office in Belize City. The number is 203-3333 to get more information.
Right, and my
your office is located?
Our office is located on Central American Boulevard and Mahogany Street.
Right across from public.
Or just look on our Facebook to find us and get us, and we can provide all the information people need.
And as a director, my number is 625-4231. 625-4231. We have an office in Belmopan, 23753 Chicky Bowl Street, right behind ENR. We do checkups there too. But mainly, like I said, I think a good place will be at the Expo this weekend, because we have people coming from all parts of the country. We are there to try and get a deal. Serve. This is a good deal. You know, I think about diabetes like Hurricane Dora, and it ripped up 90% of Bahamas. Sugar will rip up 90% of your body, from your head to your private parts, to your feet, to your kidneys, your heart. It's amazing what this disease will do. So prevention is better than prescription, they say, and caution much better than cure.
And the Belize Diabetes Association, we continue with our awareness. We continue going to businesses to do free testing for their employees. We continue to be at different events, such as when the City Council have their fairs. We try to be at different places so we can have screening. Persons are walking, not knowing that they have diabetes.
They have diabetes.
They do. So we continue with that awareness. And if any business wants us to come to their office, just call us, and we
Yeah.
are willing. It's part of our continuous awareness program to go out into the community and develop this awareness.
It is a great opportunity, and I really hope that people take advantage of it. And so if you, again, meet any of the criteria, 18 to 60, type 2 diabetes, no complications, ensure that you contact the Belize Diabetes Association, get yourself involved in the program, and learn the skills you need to better manage and take care of yourself as a diabetic. Thank you all for coming in, and best of luck this weekend.
We appreciate it.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking with Beltrade about something they're offering for musicians. So stay tuned.